what do I represent, what are my ideas, and am I comfortable in my own skin? And I think the reason that doesn't happen naturally is that I think in general family system, education system, many of those systems, somehow we are taught to sort of either obey the elders or listen to conventional wisdom and not necessarily question anything. So I think the lack of questioning attitude does not allow people to form their own opinions and therefore their own identity. So to me, therefore, over time, this sort of, if I can say, an identity crisis leads to all kinds of manifestations.
Warm welcome to a new podcast series called The Inner Office, Ancient Wisdom for Modern Work-Life Dilemmas. Now, there is a vision for this particular podcast series that actually supports working professionals who face internal struggles they cannot easily voice due to office politics, fear, competition, or lack of psychological safety. Now, the Inner Office series explores these unasked questions and provides guidance drawn from ancient Indian scriptures, modern psychology, and real life experiences. As we shape the Inner Office, there are actually themes and emerging from platforms like Reddit, LinkedIn, and Quora, where employees secretly, rather quietly voice what they hesitate to say aloud in their workspaces. So we'll start off with the first one, Pankaj. This basically the theme is around fear of speaking up, the culture of silence, where employees' silence stems from fear of judgment, power dynamics, or prior negative experiences, which actually leads to missed innovation and emotional burnout. So, first question for you, Pankaj, is why am I hesitant to ask questions or seek clarification at work? And is my silence contributing to misunderstandings or missed opportunities, Pankaj?
Yeah, thanks, Ravi. And very, very good question. In fact, I think any question or any thing that we ask is usually based on some observation, and you obviously rightly observed that people don't do this. So to some extent, our observations are based on what is visible, what is the what of it. But I think we all know that the answer is somewhere in the why of it. So we have to understand what is the why which leads to this what that people are not doing it. And we have all been, I mean, the why is not a new idea. I think Simon Sinek talks about starting with the why. When I was in process excellence many years ago, they taught us a 5 why framework. So while the why is well known, but often not talked about or thought about. So the reason I think many of these manifestations of the what that we see happen is because somewhere, somehow, we have not been able to determine our own why. And to me, our own why is to say, who am I? And not then that who am I is not I mean, it can be a spiritual question also, but it can be a very simple, practical question to say, what do I represent? What are my ideas? And am I comfortable in my own skin? And I think the reason that doesn't happen naturally is that I think in general family system, education system, many of those systems, somehow we are taught to sort of either obey the elders or listen to conventional wisdom and not necessarily question anything. So I think the lack of questioning attitude does not allow people to form their own opinions and therefore their own identity. So to me, therefore, over time, this sort of, if I can say, an identity crisis leads to all kinds of manifestations. But if you look at the ideal situation, that let's say if people are questioning themselves, they're being allowed to question and they're able to form their own identity, most of these things probably will not happen. And we have also heard that in some Western societies where even the schooling system and the parental systems promote them to question, many of those kids as they grow up, they're much more sure of themselves. Sometimes not necessarily in the right way. They go to the other extreme. So I think the whole reason for all of this happening is a lack of questioning, critical thinking, and not forming a personal identity. And therefore, when you're not having a personal identity, then you'll be unsure of yourself. So you'll not ask questions, you'll not give an opinion, and you'll not participate. You'll be trying to second guess because that's how you have been trained.